Hi you guys, Not So Crazy Lady here. It can't make sane out of crazy. Rumpkin News. Raw bitch moments. So, let's play a game, shall we? Let's play the and then game. The and then game is kind of like throwing a pebble in the pond. And you kind of watch the ripples go out. So let's ask ourselves some common sense questions. I don't know about you, but how many people out there have seen videos of rap artists with gold-plated guns, stacks of ammunition, weapons that you're not even supposed to have, stacks of cash, and bottles of codeine cough syrup, while simultaneously seeing and hearing about pain management patients being the cause of fentanyl deaths for some reason, and your grandfather Joe cache of weapons that because he's elderly now, we don't think he should be able to protect himself because he might kill a burglar. Or we think he might mistake your grandmother for a burglar. Now, remember I did a video about Chicago PD following a rap artist around like a babysitter. Now, I also posted a video about how people living in the communities were not only talking about what's happening now, but what was going on in the 90s and the 80s in LA, Detroit, where they would just wake up and find crates of guns in an alley. And like I said before, you're going to call who to pick up what? And hope that a SWAT team doesn't show up? There is no possible way, unless people are doing it through burglarizing weapons storage facilities, they're hitting trucks, or the ATF is providing weapons for Chicago to kill itself with, for LA to fight each other with, and the rap artists are literally paid as confidential informants to perpetuate this murder. Because where would you get cases of codeine cough syrup if it wasn't coming from either a robbery, the deep web, or the DEA knew you were getting it? In the 80s and 90s, as soon as dope hit the streets, cops knew. You mean to tell me they haven't broadened their expanse of investigative tools? There's literally a story I'm going to do next about 2 attorneys involved in the murder of a confidential informant. Yeah. So while you're saying people in power wouldn't do these things, why would they want to let people kill each other? Why would they want to create drug addicts? Why would they just let these things happen? And how can so many people keep a secret? Those are your ripples in the pond. Ask yourself those questions. You're an intelligent human being. You're navigating through life reasonably well, I hope. You don't have your 2-year-old twerking, I hope. Because if you are, you're really at the wrong channel. But think about those questions. Who benefits? Who profits? What does the cult of death gain? Why are all these things happening around high places? We deal with principalities and personalities. And spiritual wickedness in high places. So why would everyday people living in urban environments seek to perpetuate this insanity, this death cult, this behavior, and raise their children in it? How could that possibly benefit them in a long-term, stable basis? Because for every 100 wannabe rappers, or 1,000, there's 999 kicked to the curb or sitting in a jail cell. There are literally hundreds of murders. 1,400 or something like that in Chicago last year. We haven't lost that many soldiers. Honestly, people, ask yourselves, who benefits? Who benefits from you being broken, incarcerated, or dead? Who is regulating and overseeing the shipment of these weapons? Because they have to be transported. You have to know what's in the container, especially in the United States. If it's coming through the ports, then ATF is failing. The port of calls are failing. If it's drugs, the DEA is failing. Border Patrol is failing. So why do the people who actually created the deep web and all of these scenarios where they literally have confidential informant programs set up before anything ever happens? Read the FBI files. Read the CIA documents. They're the ones who are monitoring all this. Every single artist has got a fucking rap star or rap sheet on them from the FBI. Every single one is bugged. But somehow they've convinced people to broadcast their crimes like it's the 6 o'clock news. Somehow they got you guys to believe that what you see in the music videos is real life. And because that's not real life, they have to make it possible to happen in real life. So now Chicago and LA and places like that have become the video games they pumped out 10 and 15 years ago. You literally have LA looking like that one video game where you're stealing cars and punching out hookers. I don't know what number they're on now, but all I got to do is read the script. All I have to do is see the preview for the game. And I'm already blown away just by the subliminals in there. You guys have literally been blurred into believing that what you do on social media as a con, as a grift, as a way for kicks and likes on one end of the spectrum, that's your life. It's now become your real life. To the other end of the spectrum, where you're killing each other and bragging about, I'm going to kill this motherfucker for 100,000 likes. That's crazy land. That doesn't make any sense to me. and how people can sell out their neighbors, their own children, for a GoFundMe account, knowing what their child was subjected to before their death and being left in a freezer. I don't get you guys. I don't get how you can put up prayers and thoughts and teddy bears and candles at these memorials of these rituals where these people who are engaged in this real life fucking game where you don't get to life up again unless it's all a con and they're putting you in another scenario somewhere else. I have found so much material in the last few days to really dig deep into this shit and blow your minds with stuff nobody's talking about that I can find. Ask yourself these questions. When does a coincidence become one too many? When does a dot become one too many dots to connect? When does your common sense kick in and say, you know what, I just can't stick my head in the sand anymore. I can't pretend that these things aren't happening. I can't pretend that it's just a reality show. This is how fucked up they've gotten you. Where reality shows are as fake can get, but they call it reality, and real life is not exciting enough for you anymore. Real life has now become a sitcom, a joke, something to be mocked. I just can't believe that people actually have the fucking cojones to call me crazy when you support the insanity. You hold it up like a banner and you expect me to go, sure, I'll drink the friggin' Kool-Aid too. Never gonna happen. Not in a million years. I'm never going to tell you that this shit is normal, because it's not. Nobody in their right mind would look at the situation today like they didn't look at it 60 years ago and 70 and 100 years ago, when we knew damn well there were crooked people running the moonshine wars, running the feds, running it all. What's really sad is even then, it was about integrity and honor. As warped as that may sound to you, there was honor among thieves. There was honor among Familia, Costa Nostra. There was honor among bikers and just people. You didn't treat people the way people do today and get away with it. It just wouldn't happen, and you wouldn't be able to do what you did to children. Oh, it happened, but not to the degree that it happens today. And not to the degree where it's actually promoted. You got men so fucking gutter rutting, they're fucking dogs. Really? With all the other options you've got, you can't pick on Fluffy? You just can't keep your dick out of the dog? You don't have a bazillion other options to get off on? You gotta fuck the poodle? There's something wrong with you people. And since I can't blame it on any known viral agent so far, I'm just thinking you're programmed to be rabbits. Rabid rabbits. Vicious liberal rabbits. With grills and twerking. I don't understand. I don't understand when you can look at the budget for the FBI and their confidential informant programs, and look at the ATF and look at their programs and their stings and all that, and the FBI, and you have Judge Napolitano literally lose his job over stating to you that the FBI creates the very terrorists that they then get credit for busting, which then entitles them to a budget increase. So ask yourselves these questions. Who benefits? How far do the ripples go? What would anybody in the black community gain from allowing their neighbors to be shot and hunt each other down like video games? Who benefits? Who in the black community benefits from allowing the ATF to use their companies or their cities as a laboratory on the social engineers? Because I guarantee you at the top, at the very top, because these artists, these so-called rappers, are just government-owned shills and trolls. They may have started out as rappers, but all the ones that I saw who didn't sign the deal, they've been telling you. The ones with talent really are never heard of. And those that are owned by the industry, like Kanye West, they've just been elevated. They took the hit. That's one thing you have to understand about this game. There is such a thing. That's why you see these guys with these black eyes. They take the hit for the team. They'll fall on their sword, but then they're elevated to a different position somewhere else. Every one of these high-profile cases that have been put in the media that you've gotten emotionally attached to have been for show. While this stuff has been going on underneath your radar, they're finding body shops all over deserts, everywhere, that are not federally regulated at all, set up by the Clintons. How far do the ripples go, people? Why is it okay for you to sit there and mass blanket a certain group of people like the Masons or the Shriners or the Elks or things like that, when it's the guys at the top that are really the crux? It's not the grunts driving the kids to the hospital, who may or may not be a citizen. They don't care about that. These guys are just there for the kids. They're there to help the kids. They're not like Biden, who's there to grope teenage girls and kiss little children on the lips. That's not what they're there for. Any of you that know bikers, or you know groups in your community that their main objective is to take care of the community because the corruption, the bodyguards for the elites have abandoned them. But notice the ones that are part of the grift, part of the con. They're the ones that their stories are put on the television. Not the ones that are going door to door trying to find out what happened to their kids. Not the ones that are being, having their lives destroyed because they didn't go along with the game. Why is it we only hear about 2 or 3 family members in Chicago when 1,400 people were killed? Why is the LA morgue so overflowing with illegal immigrants that they've literally rented out Walmart cold storage? Because there's not enough medical examiners to do and process the bodies. Where do you think these people go? Do you honestly believe everyone gets a sponsored family and a picket fence? What about your homeless people that were here before these people ever showed up? Why is it in Las Vegas that a man was just arrested for injecting a boy with heroin and raping him and trying to kill him? You got another family that had 5 people come in with baseball bats. You're dealing with the subhuman group of people. They don't have a conscience anymore. They're not going to be the ones that will feel responsible about owning a gun. They don't care. Do you think they take the time to register those guns that were left in the alley for them? What do you think happens to the person that does the honest thing and says, I just found a crate of guns in the back of the alley? What do you honestly think is going to happen to that person? Yeah, I'll just wait here for you guys to show up and come pick it up. How many videotapes of dirty cops do you have to see planting drugs on people before you figure out that you let the dirty people in? It only takes one in the family to pass a background check. Those 2 lawyers I brought up, I think they're husband and wife or boyfriend or girlfriend. They're both working for the state as public defenders. Do you get my meaning here? How far do the ripples go, people? Ask yourself, who benefits? Why is it okay for 1,400 people to die in Chicago? Or how many more in LA? We're finding people with dengue fever coming across the border. Meningitis. Diphtheria. STDs we don't even have medicine for here, like hepatitis E. And now there's a new strain out. So much flesh-eating bacteria is coming from these people that are coming across the border. And I have another question, and my last question for you. If these people could not afford what it costs to apply to come into the country, yet they could pay people up to $5,000 US to send their children across South America, where's the money come from? Most of these children come across the border as debt slaves to the cartel. And a lot of you are wanting to put them back in those people's hands. You don't know if these people are being sent over here as an invasion. Ask yourself those questions. Leave your comments below. But don't for a second ever expect me to stop asking questions. It's not in my nature.